Welcome to update number 13, lucky number 13 on the Lackawanna cutoff. We're going to be talking about New Jersey Transit approving the contract to rehabilitate Roseville Tunnel. Hi, I'm Chuck Walsh, and we're obviously here at Roseville Tunnel, the east portal of Roseville Tunnel, and we're going to talk about what happened on April 13th, another 13, where the New Jersey Transit Board of Directors approved the contract to Schiavone LLC of Secaucus, New Jersey, to do this particular project. Now, what's going to be involved in this project? It's a big project. It's the biggest single sub-project, I'll call it, on the 7.3 miles from Port Morris to Andover, New Jersey. Well, one of the things that needs to be done is to decrease the length of the tunnel. The tunnel is 1,024 feet long, but any tunnel that is 1,000 feet or more needs to have a ventilation shaft. They do not want to have a ventilation shaft. The tunnel itself, the reason why there is a tunnel here and not an open cut as was originally planned when the cutoff was being planned for in 1906, 1907, what they found in 1909, over a year into the project, was that there was what they call an anticline, which is basically unstable rock up above. They'd actually started basically blasting away, and a significant part of the tunnel has been removed on top of the tunnel. But this would be about 16 months into the project, they find out that you have this unstable rock. Well, to go now and to put a ventilation shaft into that, we don't know what would happen. So anyway, bottom line, they do not want to have to do a ventilation shaft. So as a result, that means you have to decrease the length of the tunnel. So what will happen is about 15 feet or so, 20 feet, whatever, so you can round off to 1,000, however that works, either on this end or on the other end or both sides, east and west portals, to decrease the length of the tunnel to be 1,000 feet or less, whatever the case may be. Now, that's one thing. There are several other things that they will be doing for the tunnel projects. $32.5 million. It's a lot of stuff to be done. They will install a membrane fabric of some sort and then line the tunnel. But the purpose of this will be to channel the water into drainage ditches. Water is always a problem in tunnels. Roseville is not unique in that respect. So that water will be channeled away. There will be a lighting system that will be installed. If there's any kind of mitigation or stabilization that has to take place, there would be some out here to some extent, limited I would say, but over the years there has been some degree of stabilization which has taken place with the tunnel, both outside and inside the tunnel. If that's necessary, that would be done also as well. Communication system, I mentioned lighting. You would also have closed circuit TV cameras, both ends of the tunnel. And of course, finally, there will be a roadbed. Now, there may be some degree of widening the tunnel or increasing the height of the tunnel, whatever the case may be. They want to have room for 2 tracks. Granted, there will only be 1 track at the beginning, but doing the project, you might as well do it right, so there will be room for an adequate clearance for 2 tracks. And that's basically the tunnel project part of the total Roseville Tunnel project, if you want to put it in those terms. There's a lot more which we're going to talk about. What we're going to do now is to move up into or above Colby Cut on the other side of the tunnel and talk about the rest of the project. Here we are at Colby Cut over the west portal of Roseville Tunnel. It's possible that where I'm standing will no longer exist after the tunnel has gone through its rehabilitation. Don't know. Behind me, Colby Cut is going to undergo its own form of rehabilitation or restoration, if you want to put it that way in those terms, itself. All these trees are going to come out. There's going to be rockfall mitigation that's going to be placed to keep the rocks away from the right-of-way. There's kind of a netting type of thing that you may see along interstate highways. So it appears that there's going to be a similar type of thing that they'll do to prevent rocks from falling onto the right-of-way. What else is going to be done? Well, they're going to prepare the right-of-way itself. You can see water behind me, lots of water. Historically, this has been dry over here, and it's not, I don't think, rocket science to figure out how to channel water away. But over time and lack of maintenance has caused a problem. It blocks the way that the water channels away, and as a result, that just has to be reestablished. It shouldn't be all that difficult to do. In addition, the right-of-way will be prepared 8,000 feet. It'll be 1,700 feet for the rockfall mitigation, but 8,000 feet, which is basically all the way to Andover Station, of right-of-way preparation. In other words, clearing out stuff, clearing out trees, putting ballast down, all that, all the way to Andover. At Andover, there's a culvert that goes underneath the right-of-way, Andover Junction Brook. That culvert will be replaced. And then the infamous Hudson Farm culvert, which is about 500 feet upstream from the one that goes underneath the right-of-way at Hudson Farm, that one will be replaced. And that's the project. All of this collectively is the Roseville Tunnel project. So what does that mean in the bigger picture? In other words, yeah, this is an important part of the Andover section, the 7.3 miles, but what does it mean in the big picture in terms of, like, let's talk about Amtrak as well. Well, this is a key part of the railroad that would establish service between New York City and Scranton. New Jersey Transit said 2026 for this particular service to Andover. Does that mean that there's maybe some behind the scene discussions with Amtrak? We don't know. That's possible. Whatever the case is, I think you can pretty much interpret this as a very positive sign that we're seeing here. And that this shows that New Jersey Transit is committed to doing this project, and certainly it probably will not go unnoticed by Amtrak. So people have asked, used the analogy of, is it over? Is it like, has the fat lady sung yet? No, I don't think so. But I think she's probably just about entering on the stage at this point. So if we're going to use that analogy, that's probably where we are with that. So we're getting close. So once again, very good news. We're going to keep you up to date on how things go here. I mean, this is going to be a long-term project, 2 years. So it's going to be something we're going to be watching for quite some time. So that's the end of update number 13. Look forward to update number 14 on the Lackawanna Cutoff.